Dear learners, welcome you all to e-learning platform. This is Faisal Ahmed with you throughout these lectures. Now we are in week 5. In week 5 we will learn the biography of Ben Jonson in lesson 1, introduction to Volpone, a comedy in lesson 2, text summary in lesson 3, and introduction to characters, plot and settings in lesson 4. Lesson 1. Biography of Ben Jonson, England's first poet laureate. So first of all we will discuss about his birth. The poet, essayist and playwright Ben Jonson was born on June 11, 1572 in England. His father, a minister, died shortly before his birth, and his mother remarried a bricklayer. Now marriage. In 1594, Jonson married Annie Lewis and began to work as an actor and playwright. His major works, among his major works, Every Man in His Humour is commonly known and first performed in 1598. And his most famous satirical plays are Volpone and The Alchemist, performed in 1606 and 1610 respectively. One of the major incidents in his life was a murder and consequently imprisonment. Shortly after the play opened, Jonson killed Gabriel Spencer in a duel and was tried for murder. He was released by pleading benefit of clergy. That is by proving he could read and write in Latin. And Latin was meant to be a sacred language in that era. So by dint of that, he was released. He was allowed to face a more lenient court. He spent only a few weeks in prison. But shortly after his release, he was again arrested for failing to pay an actor. He also got royal patronage, as he was the first court laureate or poet laureate. Under King James I, Jonson received royal favor and patronage. He had a circle of admirers and friends who met on a weekly basis or regularly in pubs called Mermaid Tavern and then Devil's Head. Ben Jonson died in Westminster on August 8, 1637. A tremendous crowd of mourners attended his burial at Westminster Abbey. He is regarded as one of the major dramatists and poets of the 17th century. Lesson 2. Introduction to Volpone, a comedy. Volpone, the meaning, this word is Italian, the meaning of which is in English, sly or cunning fox. It's a comedy play by English playwright Ben Jonson, first produced in 1605 and 1606, drawing in elements of city comedy and beast fable. You'll find all the characters named by beast names or animals names. So that's why in one way you can say it a fable. As normally in a fable we find the characters as animal, but in this comedy you will find human, but their names are by animals. A merciless satire of greed and lust, it remains Jonson's most performed play, and it is ranked among the finest Jacobean era comedies. The author is Ben Jonson, genre is comedy, and original language Venetian, later translated in English. Lesson 3. Summary of the text. Volpone, a Venetian nobleman, has no relative to make his heir. He must name someone his beneficiary. Several rivals try to attain his favor by bringing the sick Volpone gifts to flatter him, that they hope will be returned tenfold. Mosca, a clever parasite to Volpone, encourages the three major girls or legacy hunters to give until it hurts. These birds of prey are three in number: They are called Vulture, a lawyer, Carvaccio, an old miser, about to die himself, and Corbino, a rich merchant and husband to Celia, the beautiful lady of Venice. Also naively competing for Volpone's wealth, his lady would be the affected wife of an English knight, Sir Politic would be. After each girl is fleeced before our eyes, Mosca encourages Volpone to think of seeking a greater treasure than gold, the wife of Corbino. He is lecherous as well, apart from greed. After a sensuous description of Mosca, Volpone resolves to see this paragon of beauty. Text summary continues. As the second act begins, Volpone appears beneath Celia's window disguised as a mountebank or hawker. Jealous Corbino drives him away upon discovering his wife in an upper window. Mosca hatches a plot to secure Celia for his master. He tells Corbino that the mountebank's oil purchased for Volpone by Carvaccio has revived the flagging health of the fox. However, if Volpone is to live on, he must sleep with some young women. There's a plot, an intrigue. The others are seeking the cure for Volpone, and Corbino must hurry or lose his investment. Corbino wisely suggests a courtesan, but Mosca slyly rejects this plan, the reasoning that an artful queen might cheat them all. Finally, Corbino offers his wife. He is convinced that she is safe, and Mosca is sent to tell Volpone the good news that his desire is about to be fulfilled. Text summary continues. Act 3 reveals Mosca and Bonario conversing in the street. For some reason, Mosca is telling Bonario of Carvaccio's intention of disinheriting him and inviting the son to witness the deed at Volpone's cause. Here, Mosca is trying to bring a conflict between father and son. The father is Carvaccio and the son is Bonario, the only heir of the property of Carvaccio. Meanwhile, Lady Would-be visits Volpone and nearly talks him to death. Mosca gets rid of her by saying that Sir Politic was lately seen rowing in a gondola with a cunning courtesan. Corbino arrives, dragging his unwilling wife into the fox's lair. Volpone, left alone with the shrinking lady, is not successful in his persuasive attempts to seduce her. Just as he is about to take her by force, Bonario leaps from his hiding place and denounces Volpone and spirits the lady to safety. Mosca saves Volpone. Here in this scene, you will find a rape scene. The rapist is Volpone, though he was unsuccessful due to the attempt of Bonario in their scene. Mosca saves Volpone from the police by explaining the incident to the three girls and persuading them to tell his contrived story in court. Mosca says that Bonario, impatient to see Volpone, discovered the fox with Celia, seized the lady, and made her swear that Volpone had attempted to rape her. The plan is to get an injunction against Bonario. Act 5 begins with the subplot of Sir Politic Would-be and Peregrine. Sir Politic is discovered entertaining his fellow Englishman with his naive understanding of politics. Lady Would-be interrupts the conversation and mistakes Peregrine for the courtesan. She apologizes upon discovering their mistake, but Peregrine leaves in a huff and promises to take his revenge for the affront. Text summary continues. At the court, Voltaire succeeds in making Celia and Bonario look like lovers. Mosca persuades Lady Woodby to testify that Celia was aboard in the gondola with her husband. Volpone makes his entrance and is stretched to demonstrate his importance. All augurs well for the rogues as the fifth act begins, the last act. But Volpone cannot leave well enough alone. He sends his servants to announce his demise and waits for the Gauls to come to claim their inheritance. Gauls, I mean the legacy hunters. In this play, we'll find all the characters. Most of the characters are mischievous, greedy, and lecherous, except two characters. They are Bonario and Celia. So in the court scene, I mean the last scene, last act 5. So you will find the truth is revealed. And all are focused in front of the court of justice. Mosca is the hay. The parasite flaunts his knowledge of their wrongdoing to the birds of prey, and they live in despair. Disguised as a police officer, Volpone follows them to taunt them further. Meanwhile, Peregrine, disguised as a merchant, comes to Sir Politic's house and tells the knight that the police are seeking him because he has plotted to overthrow the Venetians' estate. When Sir Politic hides in a tortoise shell, Peregrine calls in some other merchants to mock and humiliate the foolish Englishman. Text summary continues. At the court, the 3 legacy hunters are Gauls enraged by Mosca. Here Mosca is the plotter over all other plotters, and he betrays with his master as well, Volpone. And eventually he tried to seize the wealth and property of Volpone, but was unsuccessful. So at the court, the 3 Gauls or 3 legacy hunters enraged by Mosca and Volpone and the loss of their hopes decide to tell the truth. They accuse Mosca of being the lying villain who created the whole plot. Mosca is summoned and arrives with another plot in mind. He will extricate Volpone from this predicament, but the fox must remain dead and Mosca must continue as the hare. Volpone throws off his disguise and the entire intrigue is revealed. The court sentences Mosca to the galleys, sentenced to death. Volpone is deprived of his goods and sent to a hospital for incurables. The legacy hunters are deprived of a legal practice, a wife, and a fortune. Celia returns to her father with a dowry travelled, and Bonario is his father said immediately. Introduction to characters in lesson 4. Here the major character is Volpone. His parasite is Mosca, who is also a flatterer and a deceptive character. The 3 legacy hunters are Voltaire, Corvaccio, and Corvino. And Celia is the wife of Corvino, beautiful wife of Corvino. And Bonario is the young gentleman of Venice, son to Corvaccio, and an honest man. And Sir Politic would be, Lady would be their husband and wife from England. Peregrine also is from England. They are talkative. Okay, always chit chat with one another on politics or other unnecessary things. They're like chatterbox. What I mean. Nano, Androgino, and Castino, the 3 characters at the end you can see are the minor characters and entertainers at the court or the house of Volpone. In the play you will find them. Interesting characters. So lesson 4, plot and settings. Plot is satire About greed and lust. It reminds Jenson's most performed play, the Volpone, and is considered one of the finest Jacobean era comedies. Volpone is a wealthy, childless con artist. The play begins with him worshipping his gold in a soliloquy. His servant Moscow parasite periodically interrupts him with flattery, and the settings, place and time. Volpone takes place in 17th century Venice. Over the course of one day, the play opens at the house of Volpone, a Venetian nobleman. He and his parasite Moscow, part slave, part servant, part lackey or flatterer, enter the shrine where Volpone keeps his gold. Venice, the setting for Volpone, is considered a center of sinful vices by the English during the Restoration era. Thus, Jensen felt very comfortable using this city as a setting for a story about greed. Shakespeare also used Venice as a setting for several of his plays, including The Merchant of Venice and Othello. So here are some glossary. Try to find the meaning of this on your own. That's the end of the lesson of week 5. Thank you.